So, hello everyone, thanks for coming. So, trying to do a bit of warrior training for you. So, did this half a year ago as well. So, I just take the old thing from last time. And yeah, these are the main points from it. Yeah, super shitty open office version of PowerPoint. Yeah, it's also later on in the description if you want to watch it. So we go about the standard specs. So the Turin Fury, dual wield Fury. This is the normal DPS spec. The deep prot. Yeah, I don't know why you would use this, but yeah, just for completion's sake. Impale prot and Fury prot. Later on we go on over the base stats, hit, and weapon skill, and which kind of gear you want to take for it to get to the base stuff, and what gear you should look out for. Yeah, single target DPS rotation, multi-target DPS rotation. So if one boss, you have more than one boss, or additional adds on the boss fight. Also for normal add fights. Also the same for a tank. Then a few macros and maybe some further tips for it. So yeah, let's start. So the two main DPS specs. So there are a few points there that might change a little bit. Maybe I just go over it. Give me a second. Put on a different window. Put it in English. Okay. So, uh, both DPS trees go for the Fury tree mostly. If you go dual wield or if you go single target, doesn't matter. You always go for this. Did the window change for you? Yeah. No, it didn't. Yeah, fuck. Wait, can I change that here? Change window. Ah, it's the wrong one. Maybe this works better. Okay, did the screen change for you? Someone please say yes or no.
I didn't have it open. What did you? Which one?
So is it now the
Was-
wow head thingy? The
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. So I mean, so you have the explanation for it here as well. So it's better to show it on this one. Because of the PowerPoint thingy, it doesn't show the different points. So standard DPS thing is, first you go 5 points in crit. Crit is good. Crit is more rage. Crit is more damage. The booming voice is more of a also this blue description stuff is a season of discovery, so ignore that. This is just more what is it? It's more range or whatever, so it's more for a PvP if you really want to catch that rogue going in stealth with your Demo Shout. So for dual wield, you want to take the Unbridled Wrath. You have a 40% chance to get an extra rage point, and since most of the time your flurry will be up as well, you will have a shit ton of attacks, so you get a lot of extra rage. Later on for dual wield, you won't take this because you only have for the two-hand spec. You won't take it because you attack a lot less than with the two faster weapons. This one, improved demo shout, is usually also a talent for two-hand warriors. Yeah, we go for two-hand later on. So then we have to improve battle shout. More damage is more damage. Hello, join the stream. And this one, Blood Craze, it's so little. It's also an extra buff slot, so we don't want to have this actually. So it's only 3% of your total HP over 6 seconds if you skill all the points in. That's like nothing. Just this does nothing. Helpful in PvP, Piercing Howl if you want to have it. It's an AoE, slow. It's like hamstring, but on everyone. It's quite useful in PvE in some situations. You can take it, but you don't need to. But you get some use out of it if you want to take it. Improved Cleave always sounds really good. 40, 80 or 120% damage, but this is only for your base damage of the ability, and the base damage is like 40 or something. So instead of 40 it does like, is it 120 or 140 in total? Not completely sure, but it's a complete waste. It looks really cool at the start if you see it, but then yeah, don't really want to have it. Then Enrage, usually you won't get this, you get a lot of use out of it for DPS warrior. You rarely get hit anyway, and then you have to be crit for it as well, but you mostly want it for the flurry. So, as a tank on the other side, you get hit crit every now and then, so be sure to take this. Also, you want the follow-up for flurry. Later on, we take 2 points in execute. We can take them now as well. Lower execute cost from 15 down to 10, so it's easier to get the executes, especially with the lower gear. Or if you don't crit or only have a glancing attack or something. So if you do less damage, then we don't get the 10, get the up to the 15 crit, 15 rage per attack. So this might help as well. It's also in general more damage, so you really want that. Then your offhand basically has a 50% damage, negative damage multiplier. So uh, instead of the full amount of damage, you always only do half of it. And with this talent, you can up this by 25%. So it only does 25% less damage instead of 50%. So quite helpful. More damage is more damage, is more rage, is more. Then improved intercept. It's not bad, but usually you don't have the points for it. It's more of a PvP talent as well. It's, yeah, it reduces by 10 seconds in total. You can take it as a two-hand warrior, but not necessary. It's quite nice on some fights where you get kicked back away. For example, Uro, there it's quite helpful because you always can charge back or intercept back. And yeah, Deathwish. It always looks so dangerous, and most people say it wrong because if you read the tooltip, it just says you do 20% more damage. Yay, good. And yeah, also fear immunity. And people always say, yeah, you take 20% more damage. What is not true? It is just your resistances get reduced by 20%. So I mean, if you usually don't have any at all, so it doesn't really matter. So for some boss fights. Yeah, doesn't matter if you have less than 0 resistances or almost 0, so it doesn't matter. And the other thing is your armor gets reduced by 20%. This actually is somewhat of a bigger damage increase to you, but it's not like 20% more damage. So it's quite rare that you get this heavy of a discount. So for example, if you are in super defensive gear with a shield, then in endgame gear you have around 10,000 armor, so it's like 2,000 armor reduction. This would be maybe, so this is a stone shield potion basically you don't have, and this would be like 5 to maybe 10% damage that you take more. So if you're taking Patrick, you might just not want to take it because he hits super hard, but on almost all other fights, except for super hard hitters, maybe just don't use it on them, but you can use it on all other bosses. As a DPS, there's no reason not to use it. 3-minute cooldown, so you can also use it a lot on trash as well. Just keep an eye out when the next boss fight comes, but we go over this later on. Slam, yeah, we go over this later on when you do the 2 hands back. Then we have improved Berserker Rage. Yeah, you get 10 rage when you use it. Yeah, it's not bad, but you usually don't have the points for it, so yeah, just skip it. On the other side, we get the follow-up talent from our Enrage. It's Flurry. Every time you crit, get 30% extra attack speed, also for the next 3 swings. So if you take a very simple calculation, it's not completely correct, but if you have like a 33% crit, then you would have 100% uptime. This is not correct, so this is just a, yeah, you should aim for a lot of crit to have it up all the time, so faster attacks mean more attacks overall, more damage, more rage, more crit. So yeah, this is very good. You want to have this up basically all the time. I mean, with the whole world plus, you can go up to 50% crit. So there, only if RNG fucks you, then you might have some problems getting it up. Then Bloodthirst, super good damage scaling ability. If you compare it to the other two options here, Shield Slam and Mortal Strike, it's by far the best. Maybe not at start when you are leveling. Mortal Strike can be stronger at the start because it's a fixed amount of damage plus weapon damage, but later on Bloodthirst will outscale it. Also quite handy if you're level and you go to, let's say, where is it? To Scarlet Monastery and the guys disarm you, you can still use it because it's not a weapon attack actually, instead of Mortal Strike, which is a weapon attack. So if you don't have gloves that have anti-disarm on it, you're safe with this one. Usually you get it at the end, so I mean you get it at level 40, so this is where you're about to leave Scarlet Monastery, but later on also in start living there are also mobs that disarm you. Yep. Okay, so this is basically the full dual wield spec in the Fury tree. So now we want to go over to the arms tree. There's nothing worthwhile in the protection tree for you. So, by the way, I make this super. So I explain everything, all the talents here at the first time around, but I won't do this for the second time around. So just it won't take that long. So, improved Rend. Rend is an awful ability. It's super good up to level 10. Then you can remove it from your bar. So while you level, you might just want to skip this talent in total. But if you need it for the follow-up talents, these two, you just have to invest the 3 points into it. So this ignore what it says. It's just nothing. It's more damage for an ability that does almost no damage at all. Then you have 5% parry. There, it's good, but you rather want to have this one, improved heroic strike. We'll go more specific about heroic strike and its value and devalue later on. This is a very important ability for you in heroic strike overall. Not specifically this talent points for it, but it says a lot. It does a lot more than it actually says. So this is why we want to have it all the time up. So the discount from 3 rage points is quite helpful for this. So you go full 3 points. Then you have improved charge. This is very good for leveling if you charge onto a mob. Give him the first Mortal Strike because they get some extra rage from it. And then you can switch over to Berserker Stance and maybe give him a Whirlwind. But yeah, later on for later content you don't need this one. Then let's go for the other one, Thunderclap. Yeah, cost reduction doesn't do anything. I mean, yeah, it's not a lot, so just ignore it. It just doesn't exist. I mean, yeah, it won't use Thunderclap anyway. Also, Thunderclap is the same debuff slot on a boss or enemy as Thunder Fury, so Thunder Fury automatically applies this at a very high rate. It's like 19% chance to give the proc. So this is automatically, and if you want to use this the Thunderclap in general, because you don't have a Thunder Fury warrior in your raid, then you also have to be in battle stance, which is quite annoying. You can't be in Berserker stance, where Whirlwind is, and Pommel. Yeah. So, Tactical Mastery, quite helpful, so if you switch stances you keep some rage, very nice. For leveling, maybe you want to take 2 points in improved overpower. It's like 50% crit each time the enemy dodges. It's quite nice. So, yeah, but you can skip it for dual wield. First of all, you want to take this for if you have a big two-handed weapon. So the big two-handed weapon has a 50% chance to do an extra a good attack. And for the one-hand weapon, well, it's nice, but still doesn't do too much. But later on, I will talk about it in the two-hand spec. So this talent, it says it's reduced the increases the time required for rage to decay for out of combat are 30%. Actually, that's the tooltip is wrong. It actually generates every 2 seconds 1 point of rage. So While you're in combat, you generate rage. So if, for example, you just stand there in combat and then you can't attack a mob, then you will notice that your rage will go up very, very slowly. So also nice, helps with overall rage generation, together with Unbridled Wrath and all crit stuff. Very good. So when you get a crit, this one, Deep Wounds. In a raid scenario, you don't get a lot of benefit out of it because it gets replaced by all the other deep wounds all the time. It's a minor it's called it's been played as a minor debuff, and also some mobs are immune to bleeds, so this doesn't do a lot. It's just, you mostly want to have it for impale later on, but if you are in a normal group play, you get some damage out of it, especially if you build in the group and you might get some crits for it. Then it's also quite helpful. So, and the last one, Impale, it's your critical damage gets increased by 20%. Super helpful. More damage is more damage. Also, this, by the way, when you crit normally, you get a certain amount of rage, and if you have this talent, you get even more rage. So it's not set specifically in this talent, but doing more damage does in general generate more rage. This is why two-handed weapons generate more rage usually than one-handed weapons. Okay, so let's reset this one. We go a little bit faster now, so will be the two-handed spec. And we also shortly talk about the slam spec. It's more of a meme spec, but it's quite fun. It's more viable on Alliance than on Horde. So as I said, you have a super slow big 200 weapon. Also, you want to have a super slow weapon. We'll talk about this later on. So you don't really benefit from the uh, Unbridled Wrath, where you get the extra rage on attacks. So you just go with the improved demo shout to support your group. So tanks take less damage usually, or in general the whole raid if mobs run wild. So it's actually quite a lot of damage reduction. When you see so I think it's 295 less attack power. This usually sounds a little if you compare it to your own attack power, but enemy NPCs usually have a very little attack power, but a very good scaling of attack power. So you can make them basically have zero attack power with all the debuffs you can apply. So this one, and also if you have a hunter screeching pet, then you can minimize the damage by quite a lot. So it's overall more like 40% total damage reduction. More for progression rates with the hunter pet. So, but it's helpful. So I mean, just less damage taken for the tank, less stress for the healers. Tank can gear more aggressively, so you win with this all the way. So yeah, you battle shout again. You just want this. Also, if yours is lower, you can't overbuff a higher one. So just have it the highest one. Then enrage again, same as before. Then improve execute. This is a bit viable to skip it. I talk to you about this a little in a little while, so you can skip it, but you don't need to. So here you go for Death Wish. So if you just go normally, so the normal two-hand spec would be just hamstring all the time instead of pummel. You can pummel, sorry, also, but instead of slam. So you can go 2 points in this to go down the next way. So you have 10. The cooldown reduction from the intercept can be helpful, but there's also nothing else you really want to take. So you can just skip this. So you just take this one. You're more in the fight. You're longer on bosses or enemies. So this might be more helpful for this. Then flurry again, standard stuff, and also bloodthirst. So also we need this one as usual. Now we can actually take 3 points in parry. I mean, there's some sort of parry haste. I mean, if you want to put them into heroic strike, you can use it as well, but you won't use a lot of heroic strikes with a two-handed weapon, so you might want to skip it. The heroic strike on this one, if you're going two-handed. Tactical mastery is quite helpful. Also, since you are attacking quite slow, you might actually use improved overpower every now and then. So also here bonus rage, here the crit thing. So now you can either go at 1 point at least in improved overpower to go to the next line. So it's 25% crit. The thing is, if you already have a lot of crit, so I mean, if you go in fully world buff with a big 200 weapon, so you have 50% crit and you make it 100%. Is it really valuable, or you might want to have more points in other things? So I would just go with 1 point in this case. So also here more crit damage, and then you can go the rest of the points. You can put it into 200 weapon specialization. So with 200 does just more damage. So now, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. Shit, my headphone just shut off for some reason. Okay. So we remove some points here. Um, so if you want to go with the slam spec, so put 5 points in slam. Can remove those points here to get the 2 points in crit. You might, you can either remove the improved execute and put it into the 2% more damage, or the thing is, if you go dual wield, you have your offhand does damage, your main hand does damage, and it might not be enough to go over the cap of 15 to do the execute. Because for execute, the most important thing is that you just do the executes. It's not necessarily that you do a super high execute. It's more that you can do it every global cooldown. So with a big 200 weapon, it's more reliable to just the weapon does so much damage, you always have enough rage to use the execute. Only if you get parried or dodge the attack or something. But all normal attacks, even without crits, should guarantee the execute. So it might be an idea. I wouldn't recommend it because execute is just so strong. You can go over and put 2 more points over here, or maybe even one more if you have low crit. Then go one over here. Yeah. Yeah, just a fun build. So just very quickly, since it's a meme spec, so I don't wanna talk too much about it. It's more meant for super cleave fights um for MC, for Molten Core. So this is a bit of a bullshit skill. So this is not viable at all. So this is how it would like if you want to go super AoE, you have your sweeping strike, so there's 5 bonus attacks. So if you go like into some big targets at the start, you use this one, you use Death Wish as well, and then you just use Cleave and Whirlwind, and if you have nothing else to do, you just use the Slam as well. But this is a fun build, I wouldn't recommend this one. Okay. Okay, so this is now the DPS specs. These are the two typical ones. Here they is this as well. So now let's go over tank specs. Yeah, so deep prot. Yeah, this is so we'll talk about this a little bit slower at the start. So imagine if you go for the new servers and you have super shitty gear and you should tank Molten Core at the start. The most important thing for you is to survive. So it's not for you don't need to do a shit ton of threat, you don't need to parse super high, you just want to survive your first Molten Core run because you have greens and blues, so you want to be defensive as possible. But this changes super fast, so I remember when I hit 60 back then, my big warrior was deep prot for a week. This was maybe a bit fast, but I wanted to do deep prot in the first place, so we have over there, we have 2 points per skill point for the increased defense. Defense is sadly only good if you have a very big amount of it. So if you take 4 points, 4 points will account to 8 points, eight defense, and this is about 1% total damage avoidance. So Damage avoidance means it's a combined number of you block, you parry, you dodge, and yeah, these three. Block, parry, dodge. Did I miss one? No. Okay, so if you combine all these three, if you have 8 points of defense, you will do one of those 1% of the time. So if you compare this, this is like super. It's like nothing. So and for 5 skill points, I mean you get 5% crit for 5 skill points. So compared to this, it's like nothing. Yeah, there's something as like a crit cap. If you have a total of 440 defense, bosses can no longer crit you. They can still crush you, but the chance goes down as well. But it's just not it's just a waste of play points. So on the other hand, you have this one, improved shield specialization. You have a 100% chance to get one bonus rage point each time you block, and this can go up quite a lot. Because you can increase your block chance by quite a lot. Also, you get 5 standard block chance as well. Also, one thing, block chance and the blocking amount is quite different things. So you can block a lot with a very low shield. So I mean, you can take the first shield you find in Race of Downs and then try to take this one. Then you will block a lot, but you don't mitigate a lot of damage. So it's usually signed up as on the shield itself. Also, block chance will be increased by strength. And also, if you have it specifically named on an item, so in tier 1 and 2, there are some pieces that tell you you have an increased block chance and block value. Blocked value will be later on important for Shield Slam. Yeah. Okay, you have improved blood rage. You mostly want it for the next talent, but it's also quite helpful. So usually when you use your blood rage, you don't get a lot of rage immediately, so it ticks slowly up. But for this one, you get like 5 starting rage at first. That's quite helpful. So just to have more rage overall. Increased armor, so you can go up to 10% more armor from your items. Also quite helpful. This one is more of a PvP talent. Stun, charm, resist for 15%. There are some enemies and bosses that can stun, but it's so rare. I mean, I have 25% as an orc already, but this I would never take this one. It's 15% on top. I mean, you can go up to 40% as an orc, but I would say it's a waste. So if we have a super specific PvP build where you fuck over the rogues even harder, then you can take this one. But I wouldn't recommend that one. So last stand, one of your very good defensives, 30% more HP, 20 seconds. So and after this you will fall back to the current amount. So if you go down lower than this 30%, you will end up at 1 HP. So let's say you have 10,000 HP in total, and you use it, so you have 30% more, so you have 13,000 HP, and then you fall down to 2,000 HP, so when this runs out, you end up with 1 HP. So the follow-up thing from this one, the improved shield block, this can be a bit tricky. So you can put up to 3 points, and this will increase the duration of the shield block. But you also get one additional chance to block. So you have 2 charges when you put 1 point at least in it. So the next 2 attacks will be almost 100% be blocked or dodged or parried. So this talent only increases the block chance, but your shield block will increase your chance to block by 75%. So this is super high. And if you have 2 chances for this, then yeah, you are most likely to negate most of the attacks. This one, improved revenge. It's quite nice for dungeons. You have a 45% chance on revenge to stun the enemy, but if you're just starting out, it helps a lot. Some mobs and raids can be stunned with this as well, but it's rarely happening because nobody takes this talent because for the most warriors take Fury Prot skill, so yeah. This one, it's quite good for threat, 15% bonus if you're in defensive stance. So if you're in defensive stance as a tank with this talent, you do like 1.48% more times the threat that you would do in battle stance. By the way, in Berserker stance you do 10% less threat. No. So more threat for tanking, always good. Then here, as a starter, since you usually don't have a lot of attack power or strength, and also a lot missing crit anyway, you might just want to go with the improved Thunder Armor. So it reduces the cost. So what you do at the start is you just Thunder Armor all the targets around you to keep threat. Increased disarm duration. This is wasteless. Yeah, 3 more seconds. I think nobody ever has. My headphone's starting to shut off for some reason. No way. Maybe it's some. Let me see. Where is it? I think it's some battery saving thing. Give me a second. I can't find it now. No, I hope it's not happening too often anymore. Okay, so increased taunt, the cooldown, so reduced taunt cooldown, sorry, by 2 seconds can be quite helpful, especially if you go to Molten Core, because you can taunt everything. There's no mob you can't taunt. By the way, you can't taunt if you are silenced, so keep this in mind. Some mobs will silence. So if you can't hold threat by doing the actual threat, you can just hold threat by taunting stuff. So here, improved shield wall is the next one. You can increase it by 5 seconds. Usually the thing is you use shield wall because you're about to die. And the healers might be silenced, or yeah, the healer is too far away, and it already is like 10 or 12 seconds. So it's a long time already. And you can increase this by a little bit more, but it's usually not worthwhile. So it's already so much that you reduce it the whole damage. So shield wall is 75% less damage overall. And then you have it longer, it doesn't do anything by being longer. At first, tanks started to use this for the Maxna fight where she goes enrage when she webs you. But yeah, this is actually not necessary. These 5 seconds, you would rather have it somewhere else. Here, Concussion Blow. It's a nice stun for dungeons, but also doesn't work on most other mobs, so yeah. But it's 45-second cooldown, and you sometimes struggle with getting 15 rage to use the stun. As a deep rot, yeah. So then improved shield bash. That's a waste. So this is just a silence. I mean, this would be more of a PvP skill, but no, yeah, just skip this one. Then we have the one-hit specialization. This is super good. 10% more damage. This is like a Darkmoon Fair buff on you permanently. I would love to have this in the other tree somewhere, but no, it's in the death tree, super far down. Super sad to see it. Yeah, it's super good. This is one of the best talents in the whole death tree. Then we have our Shield Slam. So, Shield Slam also dispels the target, so it's quite helpful for dungeons, for example, for Frost Whisperer in Scholarmans. So he has this Frost Shield, which lets you attack slower, also has more armor. So, I mean, you can bring a Shaman or a Priest that can dispel the boss as well. But yeah, yeah, you can just dispel it with Shield Slam as well. It does, so if you have low attack power, low damage overall, then it does actually quite a lot of threat, but it scales super bad. The problem is it scales with your block value. So we were talking before about the block value and the block chance. So block chance, of course, is how often you get the chance to block, and the block value is the amount you block. So block value gets added to the Shield Slam. Yeah. So this is how it scales. And well, strength will also increase the amount of damage it does. But yeah, it also costs 10 rage less than the other two options, so Mortal Strike and Bloodthirst. So this is also quite handy for a starting out tank. For a starting out tank, then I would also recommend just if you can Heroic Strike, here go this. Go a few points into deflection, so even more parry, even more defensive. Tactical Master is nice. Here Anger Management gives you also some extra rage. Then you can, I don't know, you have 9 points left, you can go crit if you want. Crit gives you more rage as well. And maybe some points in Unbridled Wrath, so get also more rage on the attacks. But yeah, this would be, you go Molten Core the first time. You are called out to be the main tank. Yeah, this might be a good idea for you to start. Okay. Then a little bit different spec would be Impel Prot. You can mostly leave this part here. This is, it's not like it's super viable, but yeah, you can just try it out. But let me improve. So if you want to stick to your shield, if you are in this changing phase, yeah, you want to go, you want to improve your tanking, but you don't want to get rid of the shield, then if you have like 20% crit, you're gonna try this out. So we want to go down the crit tree here, and here you can get 3 points more crit. Oops, we want to change those. Sorry, like this. So you have better gear now. You have a lot more crit, and you want to keep your shield. Go with this. So this keeps you safe. You can still do decent amount of threat. Now, okay, and now we go for Fury Prot. Yeah, Fury Prot, we want to go down here to Bloodthirst, so we just go the same route as the normal doable DPS as before. Here, often we skip the improved execute because we're not executing normally, only if you are super crazy for parsing. So you have your 32 points here, and then sometimes you have to use a shield. So there are boss fights also if you want to use shield, well, you want to have a shield. So this one is a lot stronger than this anticipation. I mean, this 8 defense here, we have it all the time, but you use the shield block, the shield, when it's getting super dangerous. And as a Fury Prot warrior, you wanna switch into it as a cooldown basically. So you wanna switch into the shield, go with the shield block, so you are safe for 2 attacks to not be crit or crushed. So helps a lot. Also, you wanna have your your bonus rage for later on for the last stand. I personally only take 3 points in improved armor, because I take other points later on in Heroic Strike, which I use a lot. But you can also skip those 2 points, sorry, I'm only putting here, and put it into the toughness, some more armor. Here, 1 point in shield block again, last stand again, and 4 threat. So, last 2 points, as I said, either here in toughness. Some people might even put it in improved thunder armor if they want, or in taunt if they start Molten Core, or here improved revenge, or I just put it in Heroic Strike because I use it so often, so the 2 point discount does actually do a lot. So, you are gearing most likely like a normal DPS warrior, maybe a little bit more defensive, more armor, more health. So maybe not a Lionheart helm, but take the one from BWL that looks like the one from Scarlet Monastery, or later on the 2.5 helmet. They will keep you warm. So but other than that, you go quite offensive with your gear as for tanking. Because the difference between Classic and TBC is, so I had to learn this the hard way because I leveled in TBC a Feral Druid, and when I went to Karazhan for the first time with mostly blues, and I wasn't crit in Crush Immune, which was not important back then for me because I didn't know better at this time. I got completely wrecked by some trash mobs, so they just one-shotted me. I had like 15,000 HP on my Feral Druid in TBC, and they just deleted me. So next time I have boss crushing moves. Yeah. For Classic on the other side, the bosses hit like a wet noodle. Also, you can have a shit ton of consumes, which keep you alive. There's also a difference. Titan Flask does 1200 HP. In TBC, it's like, I'm not sure, that's 650, so it's almost half. So yeah, you you don't need to be this defensive normally. So the super defensive stuff is just for your, as I said, for your first Molten Core. Okay, so this would be the skill trees, all the different versions. I mean, you can go arms quickly as well. So if you want to go normal PvP, you might be better off with deflection since you might fight warriors and rogues head on. You want to switch over to stances, want to get your crit damage, you want to make the rogues bleed. That's overpowered us a lot because you don't usually do PvP with world buffs. I mean, you can do, it's up to you. Usually swords is the best version, so you get the Wind Fury proc, 5% chance, but also maces stun the enemy, it's also quite helpful, or you get the extra crit for those two. It's always nice. So I would recommend for PvP this hamstring increased chance to immobilize them. You probably saw this on hunters doing it to you as a warrior. Yeah, super annoying. Then just one more point here, and you go down to Mortal Strike. Cruelty, more crit, more demo shout. If you have a dual wield warrior fighting against you, it's more important to demo shout them or a rogue. If you fight a once. Shut off again. So, yeah, it's more if they have more attacks, basically, you want to reduce the overall damage from them more than the one big attack. Okay, yeah, your battle shout, also the piercing howl is now super useful because you don't have to be in range to slow them. Your enrage here as well. We don't get the full points, but yeah. Okay, so that's it for the skill trees. Then we go over to the base stats. So, there are three stats you really care for. So this is strength, agility, and maybe stamina for a DPS. It's helpful, but as a DPS you don't need it, but it's usually in melee range there's more AoE damage, so especially on trash, I try to tell the warriors take your 2.5 set at least and don't go super glass cannon, so you don't get cleaved down for stupid reasons. In Extremas there's these packs of three that do, there are two mages and they do a lot of AoE damage, so you can just fall over by getting hit when they cast their shit all together. So having a bit more HP on trash is quite helpful. Also Molten Core, where these where Baron Geddon runs around, these trash packs can do a shit ton of damage. They can stun you with the AoE stun, then you can get the fire debuff from one of those, so you can't cast anything. You usually don't notice as a physical DPS because you rarely cast anything directly. But yeah, so you can get a lot of damage in a very short while. So having more damage, more HP on trash is quite recommended. So what do the other stats actually do? So you have strength. Strength, 1 point of strength as a warrior is 2 points of attack power. If you have 14 attack power or 7 strength, this is 1 DPS, 1 damage per second. So this scales quite well with all the weapons, I mean, and also with Bloodthirst, because Bloodthirst you get a 45% of your IP into damage directly. This is the best scaling ability in my, as far as I know. So that is what makes Bloodthirst so good. Yeah, more AP, more damage, more damage, more rage. So AP good, strength good. You want it, yeah. Agility, 20 agility, give you 1% crit, 1% dodge, and 40 armor. So you double the agility and it tells you what armor you have. And so agility is also super strong stat. I mean, you get a lot of crit for and dodge and armor for it for very little. You have to invest for it. By the way, rogues need, I think, like 30 or 40. I'm not completely sure. And hunters need even more. They need like 45 for 1% crit. Also, the more you crit, the more rage you get, of course. Also, you get those bleeding effects from the talent tree here. Where is it? Where was I? Free for the impale thing. So if you crit, you leave the dot on it. So yeah, crit always good. And what else? So yeah, stamina, 10 stamina, 1 stamina is 10 HP. So yeah, easy calculation. Yeah, these other two base stats, intelligence and spirit, are not that important. I mean, there is some scarce use for it. So I mean, you level your weapon skill faster. So if your weapons are not maxed, then you have some int gear. Maybe you use it as a if you have flask gear as well. Um, I won't go into flask gear, but this is good to skill your weapon. It just goes a lot faster since you almost have nothing. I mean, if you get a standard int buff from a mage, it more than doubles your total intelligence. Spirit, in a raid, you usually want to click it off because you're close to your buff cap. Buff cap is also another topic. If you see you have int or spirit on you as a buff in a raid scenario, just click them off. There's no benefit for you, really. But if you just stand there with low HP, you would regenerate quite fast your HP back. Usually, if you have like two good pieces while leveling, then with a lot of spirit on them, just keep them, switch them out if you're not in combat, and you heal up quite fast. Warriors especially scale hard with the spirit, but this is not really necessary. So just a small tip for it. Okay, then we have the attack table and weapon skill. Okay, we have two different situations. You are attacking the boss from the front, so this is what tanks usually do, and you attack the boss from behind. This is in this table. When you attack the boss from the front, the the boss has a 5% chance to dodge. Also have a 5% chance to block as well, a 9% chance to miss, and a 14% chance to parry. So this is quite a lot. So if you don't have anything to no hit at all, then you won't hit a lot. So on the other side, you also have, so when you attack from the back, the block, so bosses can't block from behind. So if you attack them in the back, no blocking, no parrying. The weapon doesn't go around the back, so they only block in front and parry in front. But you still have the standard miss chance and the standard dodge chance. So this is why you need either 6% with weapon skill plus 5, or why you need, if you don't have weapon skill, then you need 9% hit. So you want to mitigate this one and this one. Actually, the whole table for this is a bit more complicated. It's the right side is some sort of something different, but in general, you need 9% to mitigate this one, and you need 5% if you have 5 weapon skill. So this will be explained also over here. So for orcs, try to get access. For all non-orcs, just get 9% hit. It's usually cheaper than buying super expensive edge masters. If you want to tank, then go for daggers, because there are numerous items where you can increase your dagger skill. So, for example, there is in Diamond Tribute, the second to last boss, you can draw a good build, has 5 weapon skill, it's leather, has 1% crit, a lot of stamina. This is a good starting, so it is just one item for it. You can also go to Diamond West. The end boss has a chance, but nobody goes Diamond West, so it's a bit hard to find a group for that. He has nice pens as well, but he also has a dagger, it's called Distracting Dagger. It has +6 dagger skill as well, so you can also put it in the offhand, only put it in the offhand. So you have your weapon skill on the weapon there as well. So we just need a nice big slow main hand dagger and you're golden. And also later on there is Molten Core, you get the Aged Core leather gloves that can be dropped by all non-snake bosses and not the last two bosses. So this is also has 5 weapon skill, some crit, a lot of stamina, strength, fire resistance, I think even some under different resistance. No, I forgot. Yeah, super good ones. These are usually the best ones. Also, one of the world bosses has a headpiece with dagger skill on it. This is even better than H color the gloves because it has agility and a lot more stamina on it. So I think Grindfest is one. So drops quite rarely, but it's actually quite good. Also good for feral druids, not for the weapon skill, but for the base stats mostly. Okay, so uh, this weapon skill thing, you might heard of it, and people spend shit ton of money um, on Edge Masters. Edge Masters also has weapon skill on it. People buy it for 4,000 and more. I saw it going out for 8,000 gold. People are super crazy about this. So when you don't have weapon skill, so then if you have so you always have a chance to that enemies that are 3 levels higher than you. So usually it's boss level, so it's either level 63 or a boss level. So this question mark thing, they will you basically don't hit them properly. This is the idea of this glancing blow. You just swoosh off their armor. So we don't get a direct hit. You just get a half of a hit, and this chance will never decrease. So either you have so much weapon skill that you just give yourself on stats to reduce this, or you just reduce the damage that gets reduced. So you always have a 40% chance. So weapon skill doesn't change anything on this. Chance is always 40. And at 40% of the time, you are fresh warrior, you don't have an axe, so it doesn't matter which race. So let's say you have a fist weapon, so there's no fist weapon skill for it. So your tanking weapons are fist weapons, or DPS weapons are fist weapons. So you have weapon skill 300. It's because you skilled them before the raid, and now you fight the first boss. So 40% of the time, your damage, your white hit attacks, not just go about this a bit more, but your offhand permanently and your main hand, if you don't use heroic strike or cleave, will do less damage. So this damage you can see on this table below it. So so this table is basically the other way around. Um, so if the defense from the boss, because it's 5 levels higher, then your damage is the penalty is the chance is 40%, but the penalty, the damage reduction is 35%. And you have a miss chance of 8%, but also the boss is higher than you, then this 3 levels high, so he has an additional hit reduction. So this is why you also need the 9% hit. I can link you some more in-depth video on this particular thing, but yeah. So if you basically increase your weapon skill, you reduce the defense skill of the enemy. So let's say you are an orc and you have now 5 weapon skill and you're using a plus 5 weapon skill, so 305, and you have your axe, also skill to 305, then all of a sudden uh, your damage from your white attacks 40% of the time is not reduced by 35% anymore, it's reduced by 15%. So you gain 20% more chance 40% of the time. This is why most players say, yeah, orc or human are the best because they have additional weapon skill, and why people are going crazy for weapon skill. Remember, it's for your white attacks. We come to this later on again. So, also you need 3% less hit. This is a big thing. So this is super helpful at the start, especially for tanks. So this is why I would recommend weapon skill for tanks at least. For DPS, I mean, it's super easy to get 9 and more. So yeah. Okay, you can go even further, but if you see so for 5 points you get 3 less hits. But if you go for 15 weapon skill, you only get 1 more. So and the penalty goes down to 5%. So it stops at 4 basically. So it's So going more than 5 is almost pointless. So there's, yeah, just if you can get it easy, this is the idea. So if you can get it easy, the weapon skill, take it. If you don't, ignore it. So, as I said, these glancing blows can only occur on white hits. So if you just auto attack a target, these attacks on the boss, they have this chance, not your start. So if you use your Bloodthirst, if you use your Cleave, if you use your Whirlwind, if you use your Heroic Strike, if you use your Revenge, your Thunder Armor, it doesn't break away. Thunder Armor doesn't do damage, but everything that is a yellow number, this will not trigger a glancing blow. So the idea is, if you have a lot of damage overall, so you have enough rage because you have world buffs, you have a lot of attack power, and then you basically can keep up either your cleave or your heroic strike. This means only your offhand will do white attacks. So your bloodthirst won't get glancing blows, and all the other abilities as well. And your heroic strike also doesn't get the glancing blows. So this is why this is not so important in my opinion. So I mean, there are people that say, yeah, weapon skill is everything, and I say, yeah, it's good if you have it, but if you don't bother about it. So weapon skill, in my opinion, is mostly for your offhand. Also, when you do normal dungeons where you don't use world buffs, then it doesn't matter at all because mobs are usually your level or lower. So this glancing blow thing doesn't even occur. So, um, by the way, so glancing blows only bosses or level 63. Don't forget this. So this is why it doesn't matter for dungeons. And yeah, if you're in the raid, you usually use world buffs and usually have enough rage for everything, and you have your Windfury Totem and all the other buffs and consumes and blah 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 blah. So you have enough rage in general, that's what I'm about to say. And you can just use your heroic strike all the time. So, or your cleave, depending on the fight. So you bought your Edge Masters for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8k, and now you see, yeah, your offhand weapon does like a little bit more damage. So if you go down this tree here, this would be, yeah, you would be like here. This is where your Edge Masters would bring you for your offhand. Remember, your offhand, when I go back to the skill tree, here the dual wield specialization. In general, your offhand does 50% less damage, and your offhand, if you improve it, then it's 25% less damage. Also, the hit penalty for your offhand is also super increased. I'm not completely sure. I think it's 24, 5, 6, 7% miss chance for your for your offhand, and 9% for your main. And there go the headphones again. Sorry. Yeah, so your offhand usually has a super high chance to miss anyway, and so there's also an interaction with the heroic strike or the cleave for this, but I mean, you boost your offhand for a lot of gold that doesn't do a lot anyway, so just spend your gold wisely on other things. Buy an epic mount, buy consumables, you will do more damage. Also, buy a Titan Flask or get a Titan Flask. If you die and lose your world buffs, you do a lot less damage, so staying alive is more helpful usually than buying Edge Masters. Yeah, you don't have to replace the Edge Masters, but yeah. Okay. So also on these offhand attacks, while you have so you see when you use your heroic strike or your cleave, then you have basically there's a golden circle around it. So this means it is active until it's used for the next attack. While this is active, this I would call it a buff, your offhand has the same miss chance than your main hand. So if you have no weapon skill, you have 9% miss chance on your offhand as well. So it's more likely to hit as well. And I could show you this in I don't find the log quick enough. So so your offhand also is more likely to hit in general if you have your heroic strike queued for your main hand. So this is just a small thing, so it doesn't turn it into a yellow hit, but it still continues to be a white hit. But yeah, just notice you want to have up one of the other, one or the other, either heroic strike or your cleave. So try to use it as often as possible if you have enough rage. But now we go to the rotations, and then you see what you really have to focus on first. Okay, but I'll do a quick drink. If you have some questions, please throw them out. Everyone asleep?
Lost boo, hey! Everyone's just muted.
Yeah, everyone asleep probably.
Yeah, I'm focused.
Yeah.
I love you, Mason.
It feels like school again.
Yeah, I love myself as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 more pages. Also have some video stuff for this as well. So maybe a bit more stuff to look at. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Rotations. In general, you want to stack your cooldowns so for the end where you can do the most damage. So this differs. So it really depends on the boss fight where you do the most damage. If you have the standard one boss fight, so just one boss that stands there and get hit, you do the most damage while you're in execute phase. Because execute is every global cooldown, it does a shit ton of damage on its own. And I mean, Bloodthirst has a 6-second cooldown, so you can't use it all the time. But yeah, so execute phase, this is where you want to have your stuff up. So what you can do is you can try to calculate in your head how fast. So what I'm doing, this is maybe not the correct way, but it's what I'm used to it. So I might be quite good at this at some point. So I check the HP bar, how fast it goes down, and when I feel like boss fight might be, so if the HP bar goes down 1% a second, so it would be like 30%. So at 30% boss HP, the boss will die about this time. Maybe give it like 5% more, but this is my raw estimation. So this doesn't account for all the bosses. If you want to be more sure on this, I mean, just check the logs from the last time and check where. Okay, this is my personal one. Let's look. Last pull. Where is it? Let's check our latest log. Let's take. Don't have a molten core here. View reports. There must be a molten core because I want to do some stuff on molten core. Okay, so here you see the logs. It's usually posted on our log channel. Then you see like Lucifron took 33 seconds. Magmada took 48 seconds. So if you remember how fast it was like last week, you can estimate it's about the same time. This also means, I mean, Lucifron dies in 33 seconds. Deathwish takes 30 seconds. So the boss will most likely be dead when the buff runs out, if you use it directly from the start. For Magmada, you might want to wait a little bit. And I mean, Shazra, you can use everything at the start, 20 seconds. I mean, I think we were even faster at once with like 12 seconds, so you can have up everything at the start. So, for this, this is coming later. Okay, so this is the tactic for a single target. So this was so you have your Magmadar, you check when the boss is about to live for 30 more seconds, and then you use a Death Wish. Then Rage Pot takes 20 seconds uptime. So, but Rage Pot is a thing. So some people use the Rage Pot to do the big fat execute when execute base hits. Some people use it before to get the strength buff because you get like, is it 60 strength? I think it's 60 or 75 strength. It's a lot. So you have this extra strength the whole time till the boss is dead. So I would use this. Also, the Orc Racial is um, use it in a combination of a macro for using the Rage Pot and the Orc Racial. Well, you don't want to use the Orc Racial for tanking, but yeah, for DPS it's quite helpful. It's bonus 25% of your base attack power. So this goes by strength, by the way. This is not attack power actually. This is your attack power is increased by 25% of your base strength for the Orc Racial. Also, your if you're a troll, you want to use the Troll Racial, the faster attack speed for the execute phase, but this is I think 10 seconds, so you can use this a lot later. Also, different trinkets have between 30. So if you have Diamond Flask, it's 1 minute. So if you check back on the other thing, almost no. There's here Majordomo takes a little bit longer than a minute. Here, Last Ragnaros also took a little bit longer than this. So, but for all the other bosses, you can use Diamond Flask right from the start because it takes 1 minute, 1 minute of 75 more extra attack power, strength. So that's a lot of damage overall. But there are other trinkets like Kiss of the Spider, this is like 15 seconds. Or Badge of the Storm God is also 30 seconds. You can also macro it together with Death Wish. That's what I'm using. Yeah. So this is what so single target, you wanna have it all up when so we wanna have it run out when the boss is dead, basically. So this is the idea. If it runs out a little bit earlier, this is also not too bad because you at least got the full value. But if the boss is dead, so you start using Death Wish at 30 seconds and the boss lives for 5 more seconds, then you wasted a lot of time of it. So rather use it early than too late to have more value out of it. Don't start the fight maybe with it. Maybe as a tank you can do it differently, but yeah. So for the rotation itself, for single target, you always want to use Bloodthirst every 6 seconds, sorry. And directly after, you can use your Whirlwind. It has 10 seconds cooldown. So, small calculator thing, because you will notice something. So, 1.5. So, global cooldown is 1.5 seconds, by the way. So, at 0, you do your Bloodthirst. Then you add 1.5. This is where you do your Whirlwind. Then you do other things. So, plus 1.5. This is 3 seconds, plus 1.5, 4.5 seconds, plus 1.5, so this is 6 seconds now, so your next Bloodthirst is coming up. Your Whirlwind is still on cooldown because it's 10 seconds, and it will be up at, so 1.5 seconds because you used it one global later, plus 10 seconds, so it will be up at 11.5 seconds, so this will be important in a bit, so 1.5 more, 1.5 more, 1.5 more, 10.5 seconds. So your Whirlwind will come up in 1 second. But your Bloodthirst will also be up on the next global cooldown. So you might clip your Bloodthirst now, because your Bloodthirst is coming up basically a little bit after your Whirlwind. So what you have to do now is just delay your Whirlwind by 1.5 seconds by 1 global. So at 12 seconds you use your Bloodthirst again, and then you use the next Whirlwind at, oh, no, it skipped it, yeah. It should be 13.5. Yeah. So keep an eye out. Bloodthirst always has the highest priority. By the way, if you have like, oh, I think it's 2.5k attack power, might be around this scale, maybe 2k is enough for it. You even want to use your Bloodthirst over your Execute. By the way, when you hit Execute, you usually just use Execute instead of Whirlwind, only if there are a lot of targets around you. And also hamstring. Oh, well, both have the same short thing, hamstring and heroic strike. But yeah, I will go over this later. So you always want to use your bloodthirst every 6 seconds. Just trim it into you. Bloodthirst, bloodthirst, bloodthirst. If you have one target. Whirlwind as often as it comes up, and also have enough rage for it. So you sometimes run into rage problems where you can't use your. So you have your whirlwind up, but you might not be able to use your bloodthirst on the next global cooldown when it comes up again. So you might just skip the whirlwind for now and use the bloodthirst instead. Hold it, just continue, and then use it maybe later on. Yeah, should have write this differently. Just do it heroic. So, we talked about the value from heroic strike. So, heroic strike does so makes your main hand attack no longer a white hit attack, so it makes a glancing blow attack. So you want to use it as well, and also gives you benefits for your offhand. So this is if you have enough rage for all of these things, you can add this one. And if you still have rage, then you can even use your hamstring as well. Let's go for yeah. So hamstring also has it's not because of the damage of hamstring. It's super low. It doesn't matter. But the idea of it, using it, is you will trigger Wind Fury attacks if you have a Wind Fury totem in your group. Also other weapon procs as well. So I don't know, if you have Bone Reaver's Edge or something, you can trigger the armor penetration with it, or other damage procs from Viscak, for example, or the hammers from Naxxramas or Thunder Fury proc. This also does increase the proc chance of it. And also, hamstring can crit. So if you're missing flurry procs, so if you crit too little in the last time and you don't have your flurry up all the time, hamstring can crit, and it can be also discounted by 2 items. Actually 3 items. It's either the blue or the epic PvP gloves. They reduce the cost by 3. And also, so these are quite good, especially as a 2-hand Wonder Warrior, because you will use hamstring a lot and you just skip the heroic strike. So quite recommended for those. And yeah, I mean, you can use it as a dual wield as well. I use it a lot for dual wielding as well, so it can generate a lot of threats, so it can fill your bar quickly if you get lucky with Wind Fury procs. And and the other item is from, if you are exalted with the Sandala tribe, there's a necklace. There's a lot of base stats. It's actually not too bad. It's quite good for tanking as well. But you can also use it because it has also a discount on the hamstring. I mean, there are better ones, of course, but yeah, it's not a bad version. So okay. Now I have some video stuff here. Need to check which one it is. So here's a Baron Geddon one. Again. Yeah, okay. Headphones back. So, not using any buffs for now. Well, so you see here's my Death Wish on Z, and usually we normally don't kill it before the first Inferno, so you have to go out as well. So you just run out, and after this it's usually time for the boss, because we usually just miss a lot of time when the boss moves over there to get killed. So no DPS is DPSing it, and the tank takes it in position, and we have to apply all the debuffs. So the first like 5 to 10% usually don't count properly to it. So after this, the damage will increase by quite a lot. So now we have it back. We can use Death Wish right away, which I don't do. I don't know why. Maybe something went wrong. Ah, Mr. Cell Tank died because he thought he could stay in. Ah, okay. Maybe not the best example here. Um, wait, I should have another one. No, this is a cleave fight. This is also a cleave fight. Okay, I mean, let's continue to Shasra. He just falls over directly. Let's go a few seconds back. So, since Shasra dies like so, I think it wasn't this run, but in general, dies like in 20 seconds or less. You just use all your stuff from the start. I try to tell it, use this, use trinket, use... Now make it full screen, maybe it's better to see without the bar. I mean, if you have wreck up, you can wreck as well. Maybe don't use the Orc Racial, because the Orc Racial reduces your healing and there can be a lot of AoE damage from the boss. Yeah, potion, yeah, use all the good things here. This is the Rage Potion buff. And just have everything up from the start, because this boss dies so fast. Here, look at the HP bar, 80%. Just completely melting, so... So there's no point in using the stuff later. Just use everything at the start. You also have your mind for other things. You can focus more on the rotation when you have used all your buffs. And then just go in and destroy it. Maybe the Magmadar fight was a bit different. Where was it? Ah, no, this was where I recorded super late. Yeah, well, okay. Let's leave it for this. So try to get a feel for it when the boss is 30 seconds or less alive, and then use your cooldowns accordingly. So now we go for multiple targets. So we have this is the first boss fight from Molten Core. Let me see, this was this one. So okay, you can also pull some rage here. I mean, there's no reason not to have a red bar here. And now we have not one target, we have 3 targets, so rotation changes a little bit. You want to use your cooldowns when you can do the most damage. And since there are not one target where you can damage, there are 3 targets, so the start is where the biggest damage spike you can have. So you want to use everything at the start, compared to a little bit later on a different boss fight. So also you can use your cleave already, you can charge it up basically. And so you do it automatically in the next one. Also use all your cooldowns at the start, and then just cleave right away. And for now you want to use Whirlwind over Bloodthirst, because you hit more targets. Usually Whirlwind doesn't do a lot to one target, but if you can hit 2 or more targets, it increases in value by a lot. So rotation changes, use Cleave and Whirlwind mostly. You can use Bloodthirst when you can use it. And Hamstring as well if you can use it, but it's not necessary. But really focus on Cleave and Whirlwind for the boss fight. So just use everything all the time. Just, yeah, cleave everything down. By the way, as soon as this one changes, your rotation goes back to normal. Try not to kill your friends. So now rotation changes back to normal. So you want to go Bloodthirst first again, Whirlwind for after this, then Heroic Strike, and then Hamstring. Yeah, this can be quite tempting because your costs will be increased by a lot. So if you want to pass high, maybe pay a mage like 10 gold, and they should focus this value on this first fight, so to get a good parse for this. Yeah, but so this is also my second warrior, so I use Diamond Flask from the start and Badge of the Swarm God from the start, because this fight also doesn't take long. Also, if we don't have our exposed armor rogues here, then Badge of the Swarm God also helps a lot on all trash fights and on all cleave fights, because usually it takes some time until all targets are debuffed with Thunder Armor, Curse of Recklessness, and Fairy Fire. So you benefit a lot more from this extra armor penetration. Also, it stacks up super fast if you have more targets to hit. Yeah. Okay, so normal rotation. Bloodthirst, execute now, and so from now on only Bloodthirst and execute. I mean, this boss dies so fast, so hard to tell anything closer for this. Also, wait, let's go a little bit back on this one. Here the same. For you always want to use a free action potion for this one because these two ads will stun you. So, but same thing as before. Use your cooldowns from the start. Cleave everything down. You should focus Skull in this case, but I'm tanking the boss, so okay, this is tanking rotation. You still just want to cleave as well, the tank. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can ignore the Rain of Fire. I mean, the healers are usually bored as well, but in a normal run, this might be dangerous. Also, look at all these juicy buffs here. Everything full. Okay. Yeah. As a tank, it's a little bit different. So the idea for tanking is, at first you want to get everything under control. So for the rotation, so yeah, you might have to taunt after. If you can taunt, there are some bosses that can be taunted. Get the boss where it should be. Get use, so if you don't have a full rage bar, just maybe start with one thunder armor at least to get some threat on the target. Use your blood rage and your battle shout as well. Also battle shout has a lot of threat as well. So just buff your team up with it. And if you have more targets, use a demo shout right away. It also does a lot of threat and also reduces the damage you take from a lot of targets. And if you just go through dungeons, just use cleave the whole time and bloodthirst the whole time as a tank. And use revenge whenever you can because it's super cheap and does a lot of threat as well. And yeah, thunder armor if you have leftover rage. For single targets, you might want to push this thunder armor a little bit higher. Yeah, but I mean, when I run through Scholarmans or Strata Undead, I mostly cleave all the targets. Bloodthirst when possible, when I have enough rage for this, because I don't go in there with well buffs. But yeah, this is the standard stuff. Just tap through the targets, cleave them, and then tap again. So this helps for tanking the most for all the targets to keep all of them on you. Also have an add-on that tells you which target is actually on you, like threat plates. There's some similar add-on for this as well. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, but just know which targets are actually on you and which targets are on other tanks. This also helps you a lot. Wait, where is it? No, that's not. Let's maybe go to Nexumas, for example. Okay. For here. Let's go to Max now. Oh, this is some plus stuff as well, so this is, I won't talk about this here, but just give the boss something. So, oh, by the way, notice here I dropped super hard. I have my shield block macro. Just use shield block right away to not die. But the healers are also on me, so I also have this heal predict. It tells me how my health is. So, and when the boss is green, then it tells me the boss is on me. When it gets yellow, then it tells me, hey, I'm losing threat to someone. Someone is getting close. So I might push it somehow. And when it's red, then it's not on me. And there's also an off-tank version, so everyone that's marked here as a other tank, it will be marked blue if it's on those targets, so you don't need to interfere with their tanking. Yeah, but here for tanking, so keep up my heroic strike. It's basically all the time on. You see me hitting it like crazy. I use my bloodthirst whenever I can, every 6 seconds. Use revenge whenever I can. When we don't have the improved expose armor, I try to use thunder armor as well. But if it doesn't work, so if we have the improved expose armor, I switch out battle shout for thunder armor. Yeah. Always keep your eye out for damage spikes like you saw before. Use your shield with shield block. Also have your last stand ready. I can't use my shield wall here because I need it for the next phase, so this is why I would try to not use anything else. Also health stones maybe might help. And the super hard hitting bosses have a stone shield potion up for this as well. Yep. Okay, boss coming up. Don't forget you can't use your shield wall without the shield. So she's now in enrage, more and more with damage. So get ready, and timer's coming up, and shield wall. Yeah. And I'm safe now for the time. Also got all these hots, and also still my diamond flask ticking. So even if I get the poison that removes the healing debuff, it's fine. So on the other hand, we have I started it a bit late. Do we have other multi-targets here? So for Feralina, we have a lot of targets here. For example, this is also this time around, because people were complaining, I told for green and for diamonds some people to tank them as well, and usually they just die in the whole clump here as well. So since you want to do a lot of threat at the start, you just go like the DPS warriors. You go all the cooldowns at the start. I mean, it dropped somewhat low here as well, and you just want to keep everything to the target that's getting killed delayed in the next. So if I have axe, I want to bring my axe to the skull, because people can cleave off with it. So, and if I have blue, I want to bring blue to axe or to skull as well. Just try to let the target that's getting focused right now, let this don't move the least, and just bring all the other targets over there. And yeah, so now here's a big clump here, everything gets killed, and here's the boss. Also try not to be on the side where the tank is here. Mr. Grinf is on this side with the star specifically marked, so you're not on his side. Yeah, I'm just holding the ad here still, so I'm a little bit there. But all the DPS should be in the back. In general, remember the table from before. Where is the hit table? So when you're in the back, you don't have to block, you don't have to parry. By the way, all bosses can block, they don't have to have a shield for this, so this is different to players. All mobs can block. There's a permanent 5% chance, but only from the front. By the way, if they are stunned for some reason, they can also not dodge or parry or anything, so the whole hit table gets removed from them while they are stunned. So there are a few bosses you can stun, then you have basically 100% hit chance on them. Yeah. Okay, that was that. So, yeah, for tank rotation, just Bloodthirst whenever you can. Revenge, because it's super cheap. It also has a cooldown, so you can't use it reliably. Heroic Strike, have it up also the same, if you can the whole time. And Thunder Armor if you can. Also Battle Shout if you have improved with Spo's armor. But also still, Battle Shout helps a lot as well. But you should be able to hit the targets with the Battle Shout. So sometimes on those bigger dragon bosses, it can be a problem, because you get threat when you hit targets directly. So that you buff basically. So not just yourself, so also the other warriors and shamans in your group. But if they are too far away, like Nefarian or Onyxia, then you might just not hit them. So they don't get the buff, so you don't get the threat from it. Yeah. Okay, so what else do we have? Some tips and tricks. There are some macros. So for basically every attack you have, you want to have a start attack macro. You might notice it when you usually just when you start out. You don't have enough rage. And then you switch target because one target died in the dungeon, for example, and you don't have enough rage to do anything. You're just like crumbling around at like 5 rage. And if you just hit your button, it doesn't do anything. I mean, there's this standard auto attack button, but it switches on and off all the time, and so you might just switch it off when you don't want to switch it off. And yeah, I mean, you can have it as a backup somewhere on the corner, so to see if it's still on or off. But I would recommend just removing it. But for the macro stuff, I just launched the game quickly. Better to show it here. basically a slash. So make um, it's like the game goes on. Does this change as well? Yeah, it's also recording. Good. So all the 1 million add-ons have to be loaded now. I have so many, but I love them. Okay, so all my attacks have are macroed, so they have a specific macro into them. It's usually just the same type. There's only a few differences on some things. Let's just... So this is my Thunder Armor, for example. They always go like this. You show tooltip as a hashtag, show tooltip. Also the tooltip from the ability you want to use. So if you want to make one yourself, for example, you just go to your spellbook, do the hashtag show tooltip, like a spacebar, and then just hold shift and click the ability. Then copies it in. By the way, if you don't use any rank for it, it always uses the highest rank. This is not a problem for warriors, but for casters that might want to use a different rank, for healers specifically, they might struggle with it, so use the appropriate rank you want to use as a caster. As a warrior or rogue, it doesn't matter. Or a feral druid. So, next line is slash start attack, so this will automatically attack the next target you are close to. It's also camera based, so if you have several targets close to you, you always take the closest target. And then use the ability cast Thunder Armor. So if you pose it like this, the next one is slash. So if I click it now, it would do cast Thunder Armor. Okay, moving this one here. And this is basically goes for all the abilities. You should have all your abilities that do something active with rage have this. Maybe except for taunt. Taunt is maybe the only exception. You just don't want to have it. Because one thing you can do when you should taunt something and it's about to be sheep, for example, then or shackled or however you see it, then you maybe just don't want to have them the auto attack within, otherwise you might just block it. So if you can see, I'm clicking now, so you can see it better. So here hitting Bloodthirst, I'm also targeting it directly, and it will be next. So I'm clicking here, so next target it will also be. Here we go off the mount, so you can see it better. I'm also directly attacking it, so I'm not just focusing it, so I'm not just left clicking it when I use the ability, I'm just straight up going into attack mode. So this removes this possibility where you just stand there doing nothing because you don't have the rage. Just stand there like a stoofer. Like this, so here I just taunt the pig and I can't do shit because I don't have rage. Yeah. Also, maybe you saw it here, have a weak aura for your battle shot. I mean, it decreases your attack power by quite a lot, so you always want to have it up. Yeah, I can link you those weak auras. Super easy to install those. Okay, for these attack macros, so start attack macros, there are two exceptions. These would be Heroic Strike and Cleave. Because it doesn't matter for a fight that goes on longer than one attack, but it does matter if for your first attack. So if you have enough rage and go into a fight, you want to use the start attack after the Heroic Strike, because what will happen is, so need to hit some more mobs for it to get some rage. Nah. Okay, so I don't have. So if I have it different and I can't show it directly because I have to change the macro for this. So if I would attack now and have the start attack first, I would just normally auto attack it first, and then for the next time I would use the Heroic Strike. So this is where you have to change the order for this one. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. So in all other cases you can put it either below or top, this doesn't matter. But only if it's only the order is only important for Heroic Strike and Cleave. So have it after it last. So okay, so then as well we have, I mean, if you have Badge of the Storm God, it's quite a good idea to just macro it into Death Wish, because same cooldown, same duration, so quite handy. I mean, as a tank I have to switch a lot of my weapons to shield and back and forth. So I have this, first of all, this shield block macro. So this will, I think I have it on a specific, no, don't, no. So many macros. Where is it? There it is. So, let's go to the spell book to have this. Someone spying on me. Okay, so you need your shield for your shield block. So first thing you want to do is you want to stop casting. So if you still have your Heroic Strike or your Cleave up, you cannot change weapon. There's a Joe hiding in the back. And he has a battle feed. So someone loves him. Okay, so if you have it charged, you cannot switch weapon. So this does just not work. So one thing you can do is just hammer the button a lot more, or you just put a stop casting into it, so then you can equip it right away. Then you equip the shield you have, so I mean, take the shield that you that's in your bag. By the way, all warriors should have a shield, even as a DPS warrior, just for safety. Then slash equip your shield. This is also quite easy to add, so I mean, you just for example, just shift click and then it's added. So, yeah, then you have it in, and then at last you do the shield block. So, this is now a new oh shit button for you, but no, I would block if I had enough rage, but of course I don't. And if you want to go back, for two macros, one is for DPS weapons, it's basically just a different main hand, and the other one is the Thunder Fury for tanking. Also have one for the dagger setup, but it's, yeah. This would go, let's see, where is it? Is there, where? This is the general color thing. They should make this window bigger. So, let's just take the DPS weapon. So, again, stop casting. And so, since I want to use the DPS weapon, so this means the headshot and the Hunger and Cold offhand. So, I want to have in equip slot number 17, the Hunger and Cold. This is the, so all these slots have numbers basically. You don't normally see them, but just know number 17 is the Hunger and Cold, and number 16 is the main hand. So offhand main hand, 16, 17. And at some point they changed it for one patch. It was super annoying, so everyone had to change the macro, and a week later they changed it back, so yeah. Also for the trinkets, they have also specific slots for this. So if you always have your usable trinket in this slot, I mean I have this one here, this is the use slot 14. So if I switch this one out, for example, to this one, you can see also the icon changes as well. This is also quite helpful. And if I switch it out again, then I have the chicken. Yeah, so you only need, you don't have to switch out the trinkets. I mean, what I originally did was just putting this one, so pulling it out here, from here, just putting it here, but this would only work for this specific item. So like, here I have the diamond flask here, for example, and this would be now there. Yeah, so, I switch it over, now it's here. So just do the use number 14, so this would be the trinket in this case. The slot number, this is the lower one. I think this is the, oh no, 14, no, sorry, wrong thing. 14 is the upper wood trinket, and the other one is the lower one. There it is. No? Yeah. Okay, so what else? Ah, yeah. So I since warriors should always use thunder armor first, and you might just don't wanna have your bar full with a lot of spells. I mean, yeah, my tank bar is filled with shit tons of stuff. So also the parachute cloak, I can remove that one. This is our side glass, and you just wanna combine stuff. So can't see it now. So this is my charge. Yeah, you know charge, and it has a different function as well. So I can. If you had it was a thunder armor. So the thing is, it only does the thing it does what it can do. So if I'm too far away, I can't thunder armor. So from here, no way I can thunder armor. But if I can charge it, let's see, I can charge it, then I'm there. And when I'm too close, I can't charge it, but I can thunder armor it. So basically remove one button from your bar. So this is quite helpful for this. So less buttons. Yeah, same basically for the combined trinket here, combined button here for this one. I also have a button for Mighty Rage Potion and the Blood Fury. So this would be this one. I also have them separately as well, because I'm sometimes not sure if they're I want to just use one or the other. Yeah, the benefit from having them individually goes out the window directly. I know. Yeah, but yeah, that's like on this. And if you tank as bosses that have a fear, for example, especially as a tank. So when you're in tank stance, you don't have a fear break. So I mean, what you can do, you can go berserker stance and use your berserker rage. But since you can basically switch all your stances almost immediately, all the time, so you can also do it at a macro, so we can switch back and forth from it. So I have this go to berserker stance, use berserker rage, and next time I hit it again, then I go back to death stance. So here this would break my fear. I have my berserker rage up, and I go back here. So super useful for all the fearing bosses when you know when the fear is coming. So Onyxia, Nefarian, Gluth, especially for Gluth, because you know the fear is coming up every so often. Yeah. Also, if you fuck up, then you have your death wish as well. This is also a benefit for Fury prots compared to deep prots. You have an additional fear break. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, you can also do the same as my backup. So this is my overpower macro. So I would go, because I would use it as a DPS usually, so I would go from Berserker stance to battle stance, use overpower, and then when you use it again, I would go back to to Berserker stance. So basically the same idea. The whole thing looks like, let's just take the Berserker Rage version. So cast battle stance, cast Berserker Rage, and cast defensive stance. And I mean, you could switch it out with the overpower macro. It would be battle stance, overpower, berserker stance. Other things where you can also use this partially is the mocking blow, for example. As a fury prot, you don't have to keep the rage when you switch stances, but yeah, it's usually just fine. So I mean, here I'm seeing that Satura is running out of my taunt cooldown, so and AoE taunt was already hit. Now I need to use my mocking blow. I just go there, wait a bit, do one auto attack, have the rage fit. If it lights up, I hit it again. I mocking blow directly. By the way, for the other effects, so the berserker rage effect, the overpower effect, or the mocking blow effect, if you want to have it, so if you want to have the effect, you need to have the global cooldown for it. So if you switch it too fast, like this is faster than 1.5 seconds. You see the clock going around the bar. So I switched it too fast, and now it will not go off. So you have to have the global cooldown up for it, otherwise it doesn't work. Also on combined thing version here, my shoot macro, just put all the things in. Go to your page, just take all the ranged weapons, make a macro for, just shift click all of them, make a macro, put it here, and you don't have to switch out if you have a crossbow, a gun or whatever you have. You just use the ranged weapon you have, so quite helpful, especially for tanks that might use the crossbow of imminent doom and maybe a bow as well, or a gun, so no more switching for this bullshit. Yeah, what else? Also here's a version of this with recklessness, so berserker, recklessness, deft stance again. What? Is there something else? I mean, also have my... I don't have it with me right now, but where is it? The life-giving gem from Broodlord Lashlayer. You can also combine this one with Last Stand if you have it, so also a super big combination. So 30% plus 15% and some healing as well. So this is also a big punch for HP. Yeah, helps quite a lot. Yeah. No bank space, as you see. A lot of gifts. There will be a second video for the gifting. Something else. I mean, for professions, usually engineering is the best one because you usually lack overall AoE damage, and you can have your separate charges. You have your dense dynamite. By the way, these are 5-minute cooldowns, and these are 1-minute cooldowns. And also the strat holy water works on undead, also 1-minute cooldown. So these all share cooldown, but if the 1 minute is over, you can already use this or that. So super helpful for Nax, Strat or Scholarmans, and these work on everything, but just a little bit lower damage. Cypress also, they go, so if you have never used one, the explosion goes out around you, so you are basically making a fire nova around you. It's like a mage with fire nova or frost nova, and it does a lot of damage. It does some damage to you as well. The only time you really have to be careful on that one is when you fight 30 years and you have the bonus damage thing, because self damage also is increased for this. So careful there. But this is the only thing where you have to be careful. Yeah, there's something else. There's also the double thunder fury macro. It's basically a bug, doesn't work all the time. Yeah, it's just some plain thing. You can basically duplicate your weapon. If you just spam this, the game just forgets sometimes which weapon to have. They take normally, so there's no gameplay benefit. It's just a looks-wise difference, and it's not very reliable. So, for example, here you see it now. So I have this X in my Thunder Fury, and yeah, that's just some extra playtime thing. And if you get it correctly at some point, no. Give me a few tries. Oh, did they fix it? Yeah, maybe they fixed it, so... Yeah, okay, well, doesn't matter. It doesn't help anyone. Also, well, this is not specifically warrior specific, but you can also macro your mounts with your AQ mount in one. Just use the AQ mount first, and then use the normal mount, so also one less button to hit. Where is it? Where is it here? Yeah, there it is. So, first the resonating crystal, and then your normal mount. Also maybe for well, I saw it. If you want to use shield wall, just also have your equip your shield first, because otherwise you can't use it. So right now, if I get to my shield wall, it says no, can't use shield wall. Well, I use it now for showing purposes. I use my shield, then I have to use it again, and then I'm shield walling. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, also here sweeping strikes, you can do it for PvP or leveling. use Sweeping Strike, and then so wait till you have enough rage for it, then use Sweeping Strikes, then go to Berserker Stance. Then you can Whirlwind and get rid of all these nice Sweeping Strike stacks right away. Okay. Yep, that's it. Now someone else has some questions. I think it's a bit shorter than last time. I think I skipped over a little few things. Yeah, maybe the logs things, but I think I do this a separate time. I know more about logs, but this is... It's a long topic. No, I'll save this. Okay, then I close it here.